Hear these words this morning on this Easter morning from Mark's Gospel, Mark's record of Jesus' life in the 16th chapter, verses 1 through 8. When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so that they might go to anoint Jesus' body. Very early on the first day of the week, just after sunrise, they were on their way to the tomb, and they asked each other, Who will roll the stone away from the entrance of the tomb? But when they looked up, they saw that the stone, which was very large, had been rolled away. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. Don't be afraid, he said. You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene, who was crucified. He has risen. He is not here. See the place where they laid him? But go, tell his disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you. Trembling and bewildered, the women went out and fled from the tomb. They said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. May the Lord add his blessings to the reading of his holy word. Well, for the next several weeks, we're going to continue to get to know Jesus as Mark knew him, as we look through Mark's record of Jesus' life. In our time together, we'll explore Jesus' ministry. We'll look at the stories that he told. We'll explore his healing ministry and get to know the things about Jesus that Mark wanted to draw particular attention to. And I invite you to join us each week as we continue this journey through Mark's Gospel, Mark's record of Jesus' life. This morning, this Easter morning, we read the story of the first Easter, of Jesus' resurrection from Mark's perspective. Now, if you're looking for a story that ends with a warm fuzzy, you're just not going to find that in Mark's Gospel. It's early in the morning on Easter Sunday. Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome are on their way to the tomb to anoint the body for burial, something that they weren't able to do earlier because of Jesus' death coinciding with the beginning of the Sabbath celebration. So the preparations for the funeral had to wait. Now they're walking to the tomb and they're wondering, how are they going to get in to do what they need to do? They're wondering who could move the stone for them that sealed the tomb. And then, just in 5 sentences, Mark relates what happened that miraculous Easter morning. The stone is gone from the entrance. A man in white is sitting in the tomb. He tells them that Jesus is not in the tomb and has in fact risen from the dead. He tells the women to go to Peter and the other disciples and to tell them what they have seen and heard. They are also to go into Galilee, where they will see Jesus there. And the women run away in fear and in silence. And I ask myself, now is that any way to tell a story of hope and celebration? However, Mark is very much like himself, very true to form in how he relates these events. And we're going to see these characteristics of Mark again over the next few weeks as he shares with us other things about Jesus. As we look at the Easter story, this is what we see about Mark. He is a man of action. He likes to get right to the point. He likes to share the meat of the events. His retelling of the resurrection of Jesus is very short, and it ends with a sense of unease. The women don't go away shouting for joy and with excitement, knowing that Jesus is risen from the dead just as he had said he would. Instead, they are afraid. Now, someone is always amazed by what Jesus says or does. And here in our Bible lesson this morning, it is the women. Mark has a way of pointing out that those who are closest to Jesus, the ones who are supposed to know him best, are often the ones who seem to miss it. And that's the case here as well. Jesus has been telling those around him that he must go to Jerusalem, that there he is going to die on the cross, and on the third day he's going to rise again to new life. In Mark's storytelling, however, it is often someone outside the intimate circle of acquaintances who seems to really grasp the truth. And here it is the man in white inside the tomb who knows what really happened to Jesus. Now, perhaps Mark is not a good storyteller when it comes to Jesus' resurrection because he liked to focus more on Jesus' suffering. For him, it was more about Jesus' death on the cross. And again, time and time, he will point the way to that for us in his gospel, his record of Jesus' life. Also, something that's very much like Mark is he likes to show us Jesus challenging the status quo. And here, it is death, the status quo of death. And Mark's short and sharp account of what happened that day at the open tomb seems to intensify that challenge. It seems to draw a stark contrast for us and to intensify the challenge that Mark lays out before us. And this is a challenge for us this morning. What will we choose to believe? What will we do with the empty tomb? How are we going to respond to these incredible events?